Hello everyone. Today we will learn about tea leaf disease, tea cake disease. We will learn from the concept, distribution, harm, damaging characteristics, disease cycle, occurred law, epidemic factor, and prevention and control of tea cake disease. First, let's learn the concept of tea cake disease. Tea cake disease, also known as leaf swelling disease, blister leaf blight, is an important bud disease on tea trees. Second, tea cake disease mainly distributed in which provinces in China? It is mainly distributed in the tea-producing provinces in southern China. The disease is most serious in the mountain tea gardens of Yunnan, Guizhou, and Sichuan provinces. The tea gardens where tea cake disease occurs can directly affect the tea yield, and at the same time, making tea with leaves can easily affect the quality of tea. What are the harm characteristics of tea cake disease? The initial symptom of the tea cake disease is the appearance of light green and light yellow, or reddish round or oval transparent spots on the tender leaves. Generally, the diameter is 0.6 to 1.2 centimeters. After the onset of tea cake disease, the disease spot on the leaf surface is gradually sunken. The back of the leaf is prominent and shaped like a cake. The front of the disease spot is smooth and slightly shiny. The color is lighter than that of the surrounding leaves. The protruding part of the leaf is initially gray, covered with a layer of white powder. The harm characteristics of tea cake disease are mainly reflected in the following three aspects. 1. Harm young leaves. At first, the injured tender leaves produced light yellow or reddish brown, translucent dots, gradually expanded and sunken into yellowish brown or purplish red round disease spots, 2 to 12.5 millimeters in diameter. The back of the leaves showed cake-like protuberances. With gray-white powders, the disease spots finally became dark brown ulcerative shape. 2. Young shoots, petioles, buds, young stems, and young fruits are damaged. The general disease parts showed slight swelling. When serious, looked like tumors, with white powder. In the later stage, the disease gradually becomes a dark brown ulcer spot. The tender stems are often bent and swollen like goosenecks. The injured part is easy to break or cause the upper bud to die. 3. The symptom of tea cake disease, which is mostly smooth and bright on the front, sunken and raised on the back. Occasionally, there are cake-like lesions on the front of leaves. When the back of the leaf is sunken, when the disease spots on the leaves are long, they can heal each other into irregular large spots. The infected veins and the leaf margin cause the leaves to twist and fold. The susceptible tender leaves are deformed, and the white powder on the disease spot disappears or is not obvious in the later stage. The disease spot gradually shrinks, showing brown withered spot, but the edge of the disease spot is still gray-white ring. The diseased leaves gradually wither and fall off. Then we will learn the onset cycle of tea cake disease. Tea cake pathogen overwinters in the living tissue of diseased leaves with mycelium. The decaying and dead diseased leaves are sterile. Tea cake pathogens do not overwinter in southern China. But in the middle of summer, the pathogens spend the summer in damp places, such as tea trees in valleys, or overwinter in the areas with great concealment and no direct sunlight. They oversummer on the lower leaves of the tea bushes. After severe winter and extreme heat, the bacteria reactivate under suitable conditions. When the average temperature is 15 to 20 degrees Celsius and the relative humidity is more than 85%, the hyphae begin to grow and develop. The incidence law of tea cake disease, generally speaking. Tea cake disease is a disease caused by fungi, which belongs to low temperature and high humidity disease. One form is that the pathogen overwinters as mycelia in diseased leaves. In the next spring or autumn, the mycelium germinates and forms new disease spots. Under humid conditions, the average temperature is 15 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity is higher than 80%. The surface of the disease spot forms a white powdery substance, that is, a seed layer composed of basidiospores. It becomes the primary infection source of the disease. The basidiospore spreads with the wind and rain after maturing, invades the young leaves of the new shoots and leaves, and forms new disease spots, causes the epidemic of the disease. Another form is that the condition of low temperature and high humidity is conducive to the occurrence of the disease. Generally, the disease is more serious in the spring and autumn season, but lighter in summer, in high temperature and drought season. The gloomy tea garden in the hills and flatland is seriously affected by rainy conditions. Foggy mountains, wet depression, and the tea gardens, where dew is not easy to dry, have early and severe disease. Extensive management, poor ventilation, airtight and high humidity cause severe outbreak. The disease of large leaf species is more serious than that of small leaf species. Next, we will study the incidence, conditions, and prevention of tea cake disease. The disease conditions are mainly reflected in the following two aspects. 1. Suitable climatic conditions. The second decisive factor is the existence of a large number of tender leaves. The agricultural prevention and control of tea cake disease. It is mainly reflected in the following four aspects. First, strengthen cultivation management. Diligently remove weeds and shrubs. Make sure light and ventilation appropriately increase potash fertilizer to enhance tea plant disease resistance. Pick tea in time. Remove pathogens. Reduce diseases. Avoid disease occurrence period when new shoots are born. 2. Strengthen seedling inspection. Prohibit the transfer of seedlings from diseased areas. Prevent the introduction of germs. 3. Remove diseased checkups. Reclaim barren tea gardens. Remove diseased leaves from over summer tea trees to reduce infection sources. 4. Avoid total application of nitrogen fertilizer. Reasonable fertilization to enhance tree vigor. There are two kinds of chemical control of tea cake disease. 1. Organic tea gardens are recommended the use of 3% antimycin wettable powder. Ordinary tea garden can use 250 grams per liter, Pyrazole EC. Of course, this should be used with caution. The second is to choose 75%. 2,000 times of Tridimorph EC, 3% polyoxin WP 1,000 times solution, and other fungicides for control. As for non-picking tea seasons and non-picking tea gardens, 0.6% to 0.7% lime half quantity Bordeaux liquid can be used. That's all. Thank you for listening.